We're diving headfirst into a case that's already gripping headlines and shaking up the entertainment world. That's right, Sean Diddy Combs is now squarely in the center of a firestorm as his federal trial officially gets underway. With opening statements already made and testimonies beginning, we're here to unpack what could be one of the most explosive celebrity trials in recent memory. And let me tell you right now, this gets graphic. The government is not holding back, and neither are we. The prosecution kicked off their opening with a bombshell, one clearly designed to burn itself into the jury's memory and make headlines nationwide. Here's what they claimed. Diddy didn't just party with escorts. He allegedly forced them, on more than one occasion, into acts so extreme, the court had to warn potential jurors ahead of time just how graphic this would get. One such allegation: Diddy hired an escort and forced him to urinate on Cassie. Not only that, the prosecution says Cassie was forced into participating herself. That's not just disturbing, it's being positioned by prosecutors as criminal. Let's be real here, this is eerily reminiscent of the R. Kelly case. And that's no accident. The prosecution is seemingly drawing a deliberate parallel, planting the idea that Diddy's pattern of behavior mirrors that of another fallen star who now faces decades behind bars. This is strategy. Set a tone, trigger familiarity, paint a picture of a predator. But it goes even deeper. The portrayal of Diddy? According to prosecutors, he's a man driven by violent jealousy, a man who couldn't tolerate anyone else giving Cassie attention. They claim he lashed out physically. The infamous hotel hallway video of him attacking Cassie, it was referenced directly. Prosecutors argue it wasn't a one-off or isolated fight. It was part of a disturbing pattern of control and emotional dominance. And Diddy's defense? They came out swinging, not denying the violence, but reframing it. They're admitting there were fights, but they're also flipping the script, claiming that the relationship was toxic on both sides. Yes, Diddy had a temper, but domestic violence, they argue, is a state crime, and this is a federal court. That's not what he's on trial for. They're trying to undercut the prosecution's emotional appeal, while technically staying within legal boundaries. But here's where it gets murky and powerful. The prosecution is trying to prove coercion. They say Diddy controlled his partners through psychological dominance, violence, and manipulation. According to one Jane Doe, she engaged in group sex with escorts at Diddy's direction, but only under duress. She claims she pleaded for condom use. Diddy refused. She says she had to take drugs just to get through it. That's where consent falls apart. And it's exactly the kind of testimony federal prosecutors are banking on to prove racketeering and interstate sex trafficking. So now we're entering an incredibly complex debate. What defines a sex worker? Is it transactional payment? Is it professional intent? And if Diddy knew or encouraged someone to cross state lines for sex-related activities, even in a non-commercial setting, could that qualify? Let's talk about the jury. 12 people, 8 men, 4 women. The men are evenly split. 4 white, 4 men of color. All 4 women are women of color. That makeup could significantly influence how arguments about race, power, and consent are interpreted. And yes, Diddy's entire family was present on day one. His sons, the twins, even before proceedings began. Diddy was seen quietly reading the Bible in court. Some interpret this as an attempt to send a message of reflection or repentance. Others see it as performance. A critical note from a viewer in Brooklyn. Tasha chimed in with a powerful concern. Does this male-heavy jury lend itself to a boys will be boys defense? Could sympathy toward Diddy's so-called kinks cloud their judgment, especially when framed as private behavior? It's a valid worry, especially given that this jury isn't being sequestered. And we all know how impossible it is to avoid social media in 2025. Can a jury of 12 really remain impartial when Diddy's face is plastered across every timeline and newsfeed? That might be the prosecution's greatest challenge. Not proving guilt, but keeping the trial clean of external bias. Let's break down the 3 major charges Diddy is facing. 1. Racketeering, RICO. Traditionally used for criminal enterprises and organized crime, prosecutors are applying it to a single person. The claim? That Diddy orchestrated a network of abuse and exploitation, his own personal criminal enterprise. 2. Violating the Mann Act. This federal statute bans the transport of individuals across state lines for sexual activity, especially when coercion is involved. It's a critical part of the prosecution's strategy. They're arguing that even if the victims appeared to agree to some acts, it wasn't true consent, and that forced movement across state borders makes it federal. Transporting a sex worker across state lines. This charge doesn't require coercion or fraud. It hinges on whether the person transported is legally defined as a sex worker. At least one individual has been subpoenaed who was involved in these so-called freakoffs, and while he denies being a sex worker, he admits to participating while Diddy watched.
What the video didn't cover, but should be considered. Diddy's empire. He isn't just a celebrity. He's built an empire. From bad boy records, to fashion, to vodka brands. That kind of reach and wealth influences how people perceive him, and how victims may have felt powerless to speak up. Why the feds got involved. State prosecutors may have passed due to lack of jurisdiction, resources, or fear of backlash. The federal government stepping in shows the case has escalated, and that they think they can make charges stick. Social impact. This case, like Weinstein and R. Kelly before it, is about more than one man. It's about what the justice system does when fame collides with abuse, and whether powerful black men are unfairly targeted or finally being held accountable.